a little bit later into sort of the mid to late area. Kind of similar to LNG, maybe not going to expect them to be that slow. They tend to lean around their mid jungle and then try and just steadily apply that pressure and build it up over time until they overwhelm their opponents. And don't see any reason why they wouldn't look to do the same here.
Yeah, so it looks like based on the fact we're getting a draft on the bottom of our screens, we are casting on a delay for this one. So it was a Viego first pick, Renekton, kog'maw as the rotation from top esports. We get the karmas in Zhao into a Lulu. And then the final rotation actually had Karsa bringing his Trundle back. He does love his Trundle jungle. It's not been good for a good old while, but that'll never stop Karsa playing it.
And actually, I think it's had a bit of a resurgence from what I've heard. They did a buff to the pillar slow, and I think honestly that's a big factor in his jungle strength. The fact you can throw that down, obviously disrupt effectively. So I think if you're ever going to pick it, it is starting to be a bit stronger, and I can see it having a place, particularly into these melee champions. It's really effective because you can lower the AD. These bruisers like Zhao, like Viego, it has a lot of value.
Certainly can have a lot of value as a jungle pick, and Karsa is he's a classic Trundle player. This guy's been playing Trundle literally for years and years at this stage. We are going to see FoFo bringing that LeBlanc to the mid lane. And had we had time to do our graphics that we set up for ourselves at the start of the show, we would have been talking about Knight versus FoFo as the matchup to watch. These two mid laners both have massive pop-off potential. And look at the picks that they're bringing to the table. LeBlanc versus Sylas. Both carries mid laners. Both mid laners that there is a lot of skill expression available for.
And essentially, whoever wins this mid lane matchup likely will be dictating the rest of the map, because it frees up the jungler, you're able to move and assist them, and then they're able to spread to the side lanes, particularly this bot lane where a lot of vulnerable targets I can see. You don't have one of those big melee supports like a Nautilus or a Braum with a soak lot of damage. And already they're starting off with quite a bit of heavy trading between these two, which I'm going to expect throughout the game.
So we'll see what the pacing is going to be like for this one. I feel like my brain is a little bit scrambled. I'm not going to lie, Orcs. I feel like off the back of that first series, I feel like we just cast a world final. Let's talk pacing. Let's talk expectations here. As Karsa started on his red buff and immediately has run to the opposite side of the map and is now working on Leyan's red buff.
Yeah, I mean, I like the invade. It seems like it's not being detected. You would be in a bit of trouble because you're lacking complete priority. But Karsa's able to get it and get out pretty comfortably. That was a bold decision. Yeah, and actually, this is a great angle. Low mobility champions.
Karsa's here. iBoy just realizes that he's completely doomed. The flash JackeyLove has first blood on the kog'maw. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that for top esports.
Absolutely, and there was no reason for RA's bot lane to not push up like that. You know, your jungler's pathing towards bot, you have priority, your mid lane has priority. That invade shouldn't have happened, but Karsa finds a beautiful window. It does set him a bit behind in terms of his clear. You can see he's down a couple of camps compared to Leyan, but he's able to steal one away and now can spend his time easily taking the scuttle on the bot side.
And I do think there's a conversation to be had there as well, where it's like, oh, good little trade from QingTian there. But there is a conversation to be had where you're playing Trundle, so you were going to be behind on your clear regardless of what you do. Like, there's pretty much no way to be ahead on the clear. As Hung and iBoy are getting annihilated in this bot side. iBoy's already died and he's back to basically no HP. JackeyLove and Zhuo are so aggressive, and Karsa, oh my god, we don't have time to talk about pathing. Karsa doesn't care about pathing. Who needs minions when you can farm enemy champions? They're going to go for a dive here on the bottom side. You're right, the TP immediately comes in. iBoy is already going to go down. The JackeyLove is tanking the tower here. FoFo is going to be able to get the return kill. Knight is here. It's 2 now as FoFo returns underneath the tower. Top esports might go for the redive. They still have thousands of minions dying underneath this tower right now, but the TP being channeled, I think that's Hung returning to the lane here to clean things up.
Just great play coming out from Top Esports. I love the setup for the dive. And the big thing is, although the Karma TP's back in to pick up the CS, it's Senna missing souls, which you need to be able to scale up with. And right now, JackeyLove just absolutely on point with his kog'maw. You can see the 2v2 between him and Zhuo just going really well. And I think this is one of the things, people look at kog'maw Lulu and they're like, oh, you know, scales really well, really solid in the later stages. The reason this lane is so threatening is the trading power. The Lulu buffs up the kog'maw pops W, and you basically out-trade any lane unless they're able to CC you. And in this lane with iBoy and Hung coming out, they don't have much hard CC. They're very limited in its only routes. So unless they're able to trade you straight up, you're just going to end up losing out.
All right, so aggressive start to the game from Top Esports, and let's be honest, you don't expect anything different from this team. This is the kind of team that love to show you what they're made of. And I feel like this is the kind of matchup as well that we have to see that exactly. FoFo getting a really good trade on tonight. That was, it looked like an Ignite used, but clearly not.
No, it's just he's got an Oblivion Orb. He's got an Oblivion Orb, so it's just the Grievous Wounds, yeah. Which, a good buy in a Sylas to immediately cut down that healing. And also, honestly, it has a lot of value into Trundle as well, who has a fair bit of sustain from his passive. But we see Knight going in for heavy trade. Yeah, I mean, across the board. We see Knight going in for heavy trade to get a reset. Is a little bit behind in CS mid, thanks to that early TP, but he's not too concerned about that. Bot lane is getting shoved in. That is one advantage that this Karma Senna lane has. A lot of pushing power thanks to the Karma to get the wave in, but that opens up a vulnerability because it looks like Karsa's coming again.
Yep, guess where Karsa is on the map, but Leyan is here this time. That's not a 1v1 Karsa can take right now. Drops the Icy Domain, drops the Pillar, even drops a couple of taunts on his way out. He knows that he's fired on that one. JackeyLove gets back on the wave, trying to thin it out as fast as possible so it can't be crashed underneath the tower once again. But he's doing okay in terms of the CS. He's managing to keep up, at least for now. This Karsa returns. And we have a bit of a skirmish for the Scuttle Crab. Knight is here, stolen away the Mimic ultimate from the LeBlanc, which does depend on which spell FoFo has most recently used. JackeyLove trying to move in, takes a bit of a chunk for himself as the fight for the grab continues. And now a Pillar underneath 3 people with a TP being channeled. Knight is kind of stuck outside the wrong place here. And he goes in onto iBoy on the backline, trying to finish off the enemy AD carry, but he can't do it. It's the jungler that falls instead as QingTian. I just died. I just nearly died of my own saliva. QingTian almost goes down, manages to get one for himself. Now they're chasing for more. And they won't be able to find anything. Over to you, Aux.
Yeah, only 1 kill there. Nearly a second with Munch going down. But we see Top Esports able to win out. And this is the LPL you expect. A 5-man fight on the bot side for the Skull Crab. But quickly, Top Esports are able to translate that win into the Dragon. You can see that initially we tried to find the headway coming out from Rare Adam, but they just weren't able to take down any targets. And the elongated fight, there's so much value with the Sylas, with the kog'maw and the Lulu. Able to clean this one. So we see initially that Pillar really good from Karsa just to offer a lot of disruption, and then they start to move backwards, and Leyan just goes way too deep in this situation, gets blown up, and there just isn't anyone who can really follow him up, and the damage just isn't quite there. Knight, despite getting chunked out, able to heal up significantly, and in these extended fights, Top Esports are feeling really comfortable.
Yeah, I do apologize about that one, boys and girls. I, you know, bit of saliva went down the wrong pipe, and then I died immediately. So it is what it is. 1-4 on the scoreboard here. I have respawned. The grey screen is gone. You can see in full color again. It's a good start here for Top Esports to get themselves a Drake. They've got some really aggressive lanes to work with this kog'maw bot that is really bullying iBoy, and Knight doing well in that mid lane, having an early kill as well. But I think the story of this one is really Karsa so far, right?
Yeah.
Karsa constantly going towards this bottom lane, forcing these fights, being really aggressive on the Trundle.
Yeah, and it's kind of what we expected, is Karsa dictates the play, and the rest of the team follows whether they like it or not. I think this situation has been pretty positive, but I honestly feel like that fight kind of bailed Top Esports out, because as much as bot lane was going pretty good, we saw Karsa down in farm on top lane, but they're looking for something.
Yeah, they could just go onto Leyan there. He doesn't have the damage. And now FoFo uses all the burst onto the Trundle. Maybe Knight can turn this around. Has the stolen ultimate available. Goes onto FoFo. Doesn't know which one's real, though. We'll have to return to the minion wave.
Yeah, so ends up just being a 1-for-1. Both junglers going down. Ultimately, it is the kill going over to the LeBlanc, whereas on the other side, it's the Trundle getting it. But you can see Karsa so ready to skirmish constantly. And as is important, Rare Atom unwilling to give over an advantage in this mid-jungle 2v2.
I love how the Q goes out onto JackeyLove, and you see him backing away. He's like, no, I don't want to lose the soul. But then the second iBoy steps up too far, he's like, okay, time to trade. Time to go for this fight instead. As he makes the play up on the top side here, we're looking at Cube, who's winning out so far against QingTian when it comes to the CS numbers, thanks to that early Drake fight.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, he was pretty far ahead in farm. I guess the wave must have been in a favorable spot for Cube on that TP. And that kill coming in, specifically for QingTian, actually kind of helped him out because he might have been at a bit of a deficit in the lane prior to that. You see now with the priority achieved, they are looking to start that Rift Herald. Right now, neither bot lane has moved over, so this will just be kind of a top jungle mid 3v3 if RA opt into it. But it looks like Leyan really isn't interested, instead looking to invade on the bot side and potentially threaten top esports bot lane on this Lulu kog'maw.
It's going to be Herald taken here. And as you say, pressure on this bottom side, as this will be a couple of plates taken. And Leyan is here as well. But you should think top esports would be aware of the potential of this dive. They'll be able to at least clear the minions underneath there for now. Pillar onto FoFo. Dips back to his distortion, but he's a long way away from home on this one. Jumps back over the wall here. Will be able to get out with his life. Knight doing a good job of managing to get the distortion himself off of that stolen mimic.
Yeah, and obviously help gap closing and actually doing a lot of service here, because if the LeBlanc dashes away, you saw in that situation, doesn't always guarantee safety if you're being chased down by a Sylas who's stolen that dash as well. You see Leyan moves over just to try and help contest that mid-jungle 2v2, and it's super important, this priority, because we saw that play before where Leyan moved over and threatened like a potential dive. If LeBlanc had been there, I'm certain they would have looked for it. And that's the difference between having your mid laner able to move over or other ways. And for now, JackeyLove, again, just doing so much work in the spot lane and starting to shred that tower down.
Yeah, being as aggressive as physically possible. And you can see Hung on his own in this bottom lane for now. iBoy returning, but there's this bit of a role reversal, right? It's the Senna that has to roam around. It's the Karma that has to sit under the tower and make sure that wave is cleared so that the plates can't be taken for free. JackeyLove, though, with a minor CS advantage for himself, is that kog'maw. So the more items he's able to get for himself, the better it's going to look the longer this game goes on. Cube could be in trouble as Knight tries to set up a dive. QingTian might just find the stun here. Cube being so disrespectful. He knew Knight was there, and he still goes for it. Now a TP to answer as Leyan is here onto 2. Damage coming out onto QingTian, but a bit of sustain is there. Knight gets the knockup, and somehow they're going to be able to stop Leyan in his tracks. QingTian survives.
Critical thing is the TP was actually stopped for FoFo with a pillar from Karsa. If the LeBlanc had been able to join that, certainly think it would have ended up going in favor of RA, but a clutch move coming out. And actually, he might just kill FoFo.
No way. Oh, he gets rooted by FoFo in the end. Karsa can't close the gap. I thought that was going to be a solo kill from Karsa. That would be unbelievable. FoFo, mate. You got to be a little bit careful on this one.
Yeah, clearly a little bit upset at the fact that his TP got stopped there. And it was critical in that play coming out. We can see in the situation, as you said, Cube overstaying is welcome. The CC lockdown means it's an easy follow-up from Knight. And then the TP was actually under tower in the situation. Karsa runs over, interrupts it. We get the ult coming in from the center, but it's just not enough to put things in favor. You see Knight, he was looking low, but that heal is absolutely humongous. And remember, not only did you get the extra damage from the LeBlanc, but also the Oblivion Orb has already been secured, so you would have had that grievous wounds. All the difference was in that pillar stopping the TP.
Karsa is an absolute beast on this Trundle. Like I said before, he's been playing it for years. Very much a signature Karsa pick, which it does feel a bit weird to say, right? Because there are so many signature Karsa picks. But at the end of the day, this is something he's played many times before. If it becomes meta, you have to start to favor top esports there. But it's 2-7 on the scoreboard right now.
Wait, I thought
we'll be fine.
I thought Karsa was gonna like pillar him. I mean, I guess he'd gone invisible, but I thought he was gonna pillar. But he's like, "Nah, I'm just throwing the Herald down. I don't care. You can leave." And they'll get the tower pretty easily secured.
I think he's okay with Cube leaving because it means that they can threaten a second charge potentially here as well. Looks like Cube will be able to stop him again. Fantastic little advantage though for QingTian is importantly on this Renekton, but now Knight could be in trouble. FoFo is there, Leyan is there, and it's going to be the stolen distortion to get out of the play from Knight. Very nicely done. Still has his splash, and now Leyan realizes He's up a creek without a paddle. He's got no way out of this one. Tries to commit onto Knight instead, but the healing is there because he's playing against the Sylas. And Leyan is 0 and 4. For some reason, building lethality. This is not looking good for RA.
He's getting dismantled. Honestly, we said that this mid jungle would be super important, and they've just put so much pressure on Leyan consistently. They're finding massive damage in the top side.
Oh,
and then,
no.
Ooh, bit of mistake with the flash there. Obviously couldn't follow up with a lack of vision, thanks to Shroud, but either way, they're still chunking iBoy out. This 2v2 bot lane, there was that initial play, but other than that, it's kind of been left isolated, and RA's bot lane are not enjoying the results of that. JackeyLove, such a massive threat on this kog'maw.
Yeah, he's able to just annihilate the health bars of this bottom lane. JackeyLove having a whale of a time. On kog'maw, I will say, not quite Monarch kog'maw, is it? He's not quite a butterfly, but close enough. It's a 2,500 gold lead so far for top esports, and look at Knight right now. Already with the Everfrost, already with the boost, 3-0 and 2. JackeyLove, he's 1v4 right now. You've got to be a little bit careful, but he's really not afraid. He's still just going back in as Karsa's now arrived.
I mean, he's on his one-item spike, and something I really like to see is that JackeyLove has gone for the wit's end. It's great here that MR is really effective against both the LeBlanc and... Oh, the pillars trapting! What a tragedy.
Went in and Karsa's like, bro, what are you doing? I'm not running away from you. I'm just going to fight you. Gives a kill over to JackeyLove. Leyan really not having a fun time. And I guess I can understand the build, but iBoy now getting threatened. Knight is here to finish him off as well. I expected this to be like a fun, close game. This is an absolute schlacking here. As QingTian jumps in onto FoFo in the mid lane, nearly finishes him off. Cube, the enemy top laner, was hitting QingTian the entire time. It just was doing nothing.
It just feels like consistently we're having these situations where someone from top esports gets away on a sliver of health, and then whenever there's a fight in the other direction, top esports are just absolutely crushing Rare Adam. They're really on fire here, and everyone across the board is strong. You know, Karsa's pretty bulky right now with his first item. Both solo laners are doing so well in these skirmishes. And then the bot lane, JackeyLove's already halfway towards his Runans. And like I was saying before, I really like the wit's end for the kog'maw, specifically here because you have the LeBlanc and the Karma as AP damage. But also in general, in terms of one-item spikes, it's so much better than like the Phantom Dancer. I think Ginsu's is a pretty solid option for damage, but I'm really not a fan of the Phantom Dancer, and I think this gives him such a window to do so much damage and the extra movement speed too. And now it's just top esports essentially trying to clear up that mid tower. JackeyLove very aggressive here.
Oh my goodness. Damage onto FoFo. FoFo, like, you know it's not going to go great in the mid game when your LeBlanc and kog'maw trade with one another and kog'maw wins the trade. It's not a good sign. FoFo trying to get back onto JackeyLove. Takes an auto to the face. We're fighting for Herald here. QingTian, huge sustain on the back line. And actually just gets the kill onto Leyan and gets away with it as well. FoFo back over the wall, consistently poking JackeyLove, but the Ignite going to turn that damage back around. Herald taken. I think QingTian got that in the end as he moves up towards the top lane. And JackeyLove can rinse and repeat and head back towards the mid lane where he's hitting away at this tower. The tier 1 will fall. The Herald not even having to use the charge. So you'd expect they maybe threaten the tier 2 here as Karsa moves in, blocks Hung from going around the far side of the tower. The Herald will be stopped, but it will get its charge off. It will get damage onto the tier 2.
And you see, I'm trying to contest, but JackeyLove's so confident, even getting chunked out by the LeBlanc. He knows there's only so much damage coming out from the LeBlanc. There's only one combo. He has the Yamar from the wit's end. He has the shielding from the Lulu. He doesn't think he's going to get one shot, and he's able to turn it around and just trade back straight in the face of FoFo. And Rare Atom, this game has been a bit of a disaster. Complete jungle difference, let's be honest. Leyan potentially getting scouted out there, but does manage to stay alive for now. 0-6-1. So what?
He's still waiting around. The thing is, the enemy bot lane is in mid lane right now, but they've just backed away, and that means Knight can be a little bit more aggressive. Spots it out. He's not even going to kill him. He just takes the red buff and just dips on out of there. You love to see it. Oh, Leyan just cannot catch a break.
This has been an awful game. I honestly feel pretty bad for him. I mean, yes, these plays have gone pretty unsuccessfully, but it feels like top esports from minute 1 have been out to get him. They're going to secure this second dragon for themselves pretty easily, and then look to continue this pressure. We do have all tier 1s down to the side of top esports, so might be a bit trickier to push in onto those tier 2 towers, but I feel like, honestly, you're comfortable going as late as this game needs to go. Your scaling is solid. You have this kog'maw Lulu, and realistically, there's very little rare item can do to contest you right now. I think leaning into this 1-3-1 is probably the smartest thing to do because Knight is really enjoying the matchup in a FoFo. He is 2 levels up, has the Medjais as well with 9 stacks. I just don't think there's enough damage to take him down easily.
Yeah, I mean, when we're talking about this game and what we expect to happen for the rest of it, trying to find win conditions for RA when they're 6,000 gold down at 20 minutes against a composition that scales really well with a kog'maw with a Sylas, it's going to be difficult, especially when Leyan has built lethality for his first item, so his scaling is a lot weaker than it could have been on this Zhao. And let's be honest, this is top esports anyway, with a champion that does percent-based damage in the kog'maw, and Baron is onto the map. Guess where top esports are, boys and girls? We're 20 minutes in, and it means that they're going to threaten the Baron.
Yeah, and the thing is, if anyone face checks, they will be obliterated in a split second. Cubes, I mean, I guess Leyan can use his ultimate for a little bit of a reprieve, but anyone who's taking damage from this kog'maw will just get absolutely shredded. He has the Runans as well as got him spike. With the Lulu backing him up, feels super confident. Oh, karsa.
Karsa's getting pretty low. Has to use his ult here, but Leyan just is not tanky enough. And JackeyLove finishes him pretty easily. Now onto Cube they go. Does not have much sustain yet. QingTian just goes in and blasts the wave apart. That'll mean Prio in that mid lane. The enemy jungler down. Those are all the boxes ticked, and over to the Baron we go.
Yeah, and it initially looked like maybe karsa was caught out. Does get the safety net and able to flash away, but then because everyone was grouped to kill him, the Runan's doing so much there. Now, RA feel like they have to contest this one, but look at JackeyLove go.
He just walks at them. That's the LeBlanc, and he's happy to just walk towards FoFo. No fear in his eyes whatsoever. Knight up the wall as well. Steals away the Mimic once more. Looking for that distortion, looking for the gap close to be able to get back into the play. FoFo, bit of damage onto JackeyLove, but can't get the chain. And there we go. 21-minute Baron coming out for top esports. That's how you do it, LNG. You want to abuse a team that's lower in the standings than you? That's how you do it right there. None of this 50-minute nonsense.
Yeah, and I mean, you say lower in the standing, but right now RA actually 3-1, I believe, and then it's top esports only 1-1. So actually, top esports got some ground to make. But you see in this situation, the pillar keeping everyone slowed. They're all grouped, and the Runans has so much value there, hitting multiple targets. It's so difficult to approach this kog'maw because if you're not 100% certain you're going to kill him, you're going to eat so much damage at the back end. And then, even if hypothetically you kill this kog'maw, there's still the fed Sylas, there's still the fed Renekton, and this Trundle who is being so annoying in your face. And actually, karsa has now built a Knight's Vow, so even more protection for his carry.
Oh my. Kong just gets kicked out of the mid lane here. karsa is unbelievably tanky with 2 items finished here. As you say, the Knight's Vow. And now, Knight in the jungle in a 1v3. And I'm still under the belief that he could probably survive this one as there's pressure in the mid lane. They're threatening an inhib tower at this point. As JackeyLove, anyone that comes near him, he's just a mobile turret. He will just sprint towards anyone, smashing his attack move key, trying to chunk them out. And they can just rinse and repeat this all day long. Because look where QingTian, up in the top side, threatening the tier 2. They're looking to steal as much gold away from RA's buildings as possible. Hung now getting slowed by the pillar, getting chased down. QingTian pressuring the top side once more as he moves towards the inhib tower. And these waves are synced, which means JackeyLove gets a bit of an opportunity to move forward. QingTian threatening still. FoFo gets on Wildgrowth to knock him up, forces his flash out, the Ignite ticket away onto him as well. Dawning Shadow across the squad. There's a root coming out onto JackeyLove, but the rest of the team is there to protect him. The Everfrost from Knight is beautiful. And it means they can keep this chain going. QingTian still just in the top side, doesn't even react to the play in the mid lane. Knight is over the wall, has the Heartbreaker stolen away if he wants to go for the play. Onto Hung they go, and he just gets evaporated. Q can't do anything about it. And I mean, top esports, they're just smurfing in this game. It doesn't feel like RA have anything in the tank. Oh,
and they're still going.
We're not even done. FoFo is going to go. I think this is just going to be game orcs. I think this is already over as Cube just gets obliterated as well. That's at minimum 2 inhibs. They've got waves to work with. They've got death timers to work with. If I know top esports, this is the kind of team that's going to push this for more. They're going to close this one out, and Orcs what an unbelievable stomp coming out here from Top Esports in game number 1, because they look to close it out. RA wants to contest, but there's just no way. JackeyLove just death marches forward, and Top Esports. What was that?
I mean, I think they understood we were a little bit behind schedule and they wanted to make up time because there was no hesitation at all. And we looked as Rare Adam as a team who, with that slow, progressive acceleration, they looked to start off with like a little bit of aggression and sort of work it up towards the mid game and the late game. They didn't get a chance. Top Esport, Karsa was dictating the game when they were just aggression from minute 1. There was no room to breathe, and I think everyone across the board was in line with that. They were following on with that sort of strength, and particularly like the bot lane, JackeyLove was just fearless. Throughout the entire game, you have LeBlanc up on the other team, and he just does not care. He's just constantly getting up in faces and had an amazing performance as a result.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that surprising that JackeyLove is fearless. Even in situations where he should be terrified, JackeyLove is fearless. And just look at the damage that JackeyLove is able to squeeze out of that kog'maw. That's more than 1,000 damage per minute across this game, and we didn't even have team fights. That is just mind-blowing, the amount he is able to get out of these AD carries.
I think it's pretty hard for Rare Adam to have team fights when they just get obliterated. So I will say that much. But I mean, it was the laning phase where he's just consistently looking for damage, and then every scenario really limit testing the champion. And a lot of the time, sometimes you hear limit testing, you think, oh, you know, that's just another code word for Intim. But no, he was really pushing the limits, finding that extra damage. He knew he had the support from his team, and he knew that should they try and engage on him, there's so much protection and then space created by his mid and top laner. Just really excellent play. And I love that it's kind of showing a pace that needs to be respected, because we look at, you know, LNG, currently number 1, who we saw in our previous series. If they went up against Top Esports playing at that pace, I mean, the game would be over in a similar time.
Yeah, that was really brutal coming out from Top Esports. And our MVP of that one, going to be Knight on the Sylas. And it feels so good to say that, because Knight, one of these players that's been questioned a lot as of late, especially after his Worlds performance, feels like wasn't really able to be the carry that everyone knows him to be. But now the mid lane meta has shifted. Playmakers are in. Things like this Sylas can be used and abused, and he can really take over a game.
Absolutely. And honestly, definitely deserving of the MVP, but I think everyone had a pretty solid performance in that game, and it just showed the whole team on the same page. And I think the jungle matchup as well, Karsa creating so much space, allowing really Knight to be aggressive. And that was a highlight matchup, was Knight against FoFo. And I don't think FoFo necessarily played it bad, but he just wasn't able to find that momentum, wasn't able to make the movements we'd hope for